Hey guys, welcome back to Rick the Electronics Guy. Today I'm going to go over building a functional 12 volt relay system in your car for either you can use one of them for a remote turn on for multiple amps so it doesn't strain your radio, and another one that you can use for, say you have a 2-wire meter and you want to run a voltmeter to your back, find out what your voltage is. That's what this one will be for, or you can use it for turning on fans with your remote line. And to get started with that, you'll need 2 relays. I use 5-pin, but you can use 4. Terminal switch. Some crimps with a 30 fuse. So what you're gonna need some wire. You're gonna need some black, you're gonna need some blue, you're gonna need all the good stuff. Make sure you have yourself a glue gun, because we're gonna use that too. And also, what we're gonna need is we're gonna need some strippers and some crimpers. So, with all that, I have a bag of stuff. We'll only need 8 of each. And now basically what we're going to do is we're going to turn our hot glue gun on so we get ready here. I'm going to grab me a piece of junk, because what I did is I had some ABS laying around, so I made an ABS panel that I will use. And you're also going to want some small nuts and bolts, and I'm using some spacers for the back so that when you go to screw it down, you'll be good, and some nuts and bolts, small ones, and you will definitely need some heat shrink. So we'll let our glue gun get warmed up here, and we'll start with the mounting of the relays. Thing. So basically how we're going to lay it out is we're going to simply put these right on top of these holes right here, just like that, so we have some space, and it'll also give us enough to crimp down and keep them in position. And we're going to take this guy and set him on here like this. Now be in mind that we are going to use glue and nuts and bolts. The glue will hold down mainly, and then the nut and bolt is for safety in case something does happen. And when we get to that, we'll keep our wire going. Like I said, gotta let the hot glue gun get ready and warm. It is plugged in, so that'll take a minute. So while we're at this point, what we can actually do is we can take our relay wire, figure out where we're going to put it, and say this is going to be my bottom wire here. So if this is going to be my bottom wire, what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out what heat shrink fits my cable, which will be this guy, because he goes right over it. And I'm going to take this and I will cut a piece off just like that. I will take my crimpers and I'll cut some of the copper off, because right now I'm making my initiating point. Me, I always bend my wire just a hair when I go to put them in. That way when they're in there, I can see it. It's great, and I crimp from the bottom. Now once you have it crimped, do a little pull test. Grab your wire for your heat shrink, slide her down, get it on over, and let me get the heat gun plugged in. And then I'll heat trade my wire on. So it looks like that. Now that it looks all nice and professional, this wire here would mount into our bottom, which is our, I want to say it's our 30. Yeah, it looks like our 30. So when you do that, it'll plug in the bottom like there. And that's the nice thing about these kind of connectors. All these connectors are going to mount nicely. Now the same thing will apply on the other side, as we'll put it over here and we'll cut another piece. But this time what we would do, okay, we got the hot glue ready, so I can actually get mounting here first before we do anything else. So I take that and I'll stick it down. Right over my hole. And then we will take our second one and we will do the same thing. Now that those are mounted to our ABS, I want to take this glue and I want to put it in the corner here because I want to squeeze some in and rub it down in there on both sides, so that I know it's got a secure bond. And you can just fray this stuff away. It's not hard, it comes right off. Next step of what we do is we're going to take our battery terminal now. Now our battery terminal is going to go right here. So this, we're going to do like that. And now we'll get this down on there. Just like that. And put some pressure on it. Don't be afraid. And now that we have that all on there, we're good to go. So now it's all nice and tight on there. It's ready for us to work with, play on, and get what we need going. And like I said, don't worry about the cleanup. It comes off easy. You just gotta roll your finger over it. So now that we have this on here, what we're going to do is we're going to end up getting this wire over here, like this. And how we're going to do that is like this. Now that we have this wire fully functioning on, we can figure out which one we want to do what. So with this being said, I'm going to use the first one to be for our amps. So now I will take this wire and I will plug it into the first one down here, just like this. And now I'll leave myself a little bit of room. And my cut spot is right here. So I'm going to cut there. I'm going to skin right here. I'm going to twist. I'm going to drop my heat shrink on. I'm going to get my crimp. I'm going to bend it over once. Drop this in. Now I'm going to take my crimp and I'm going to put the plunge on the bottom. And crimp it down. Do a pull test on it. Slide this up. Grab my heater. And heat shrink it on. And now that that's on, we can take this when it's done cooled down and we'll be able to slide it in. Just like that. So now that that's in, what we're going to do now is we're going to make what we call a jumper. And what this function does is exactly what the title is. It's a jumper. We're going to make it so it goes from this one to this one to this one. So we're going to need 2 wires. Of the same length. Now that we have these 2 wires, we got to strip them. Just like that. And do it to both of them. And once we get these 2, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the middle. And because of everything, we will take our heat shrink and we'll cut a piece and we will get this ready here because this is a small piece. And we'll crimp it from the middle on the bottom. We'll throw our heat shrink on. Just like that. And we will get our heat gun. And we'll let it cool off for a second. Take them and twist them while we have them. Now remember to put these all in on the same way because we're going to have them so they go upside down. And if they're not in there nice, it will be a problem for you. Just take your time and do it the right way and everything will be good. Let me see something here. Okay. So now we'll do it to the next one. Crimp it down from the bottom. We can get our heat shrink on over it. A little different when it's on a smaller wire, because now we're trying to get it up and in. And once you got it on, you know the routine. Get the heat gun. Let it cool down for a minute. And this is pretty much the extent of the time. It's just your wiring. It's pretty much what this one was at one point in time on this here. Alright, that should be kind of cool now to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab another one of these. I think I got the wrong size. There we go. So now that I got this one, we're going to do one more and we will be good. So now we're going to take this one, we're going to bend this one, and we're going to put it on. And we'll crimp it from the bottom. Now we're going to cut a piece of this, our heat shrink. Now this is the kind of stuff shops don't do. They won't make it look nice, they won't make it look pretty. That's your job. This is the ideal for the hobbyist. You're not a hobbyist, turn this page right now. No, I'm just kidding. Shops they're good in one way versus another. I mean, it really depends. If you're going to go to a shop today, you need to bring your car to a well-known place. You can't just bring it to anywhere anymore. I mean, shops are so different anymore. It's not funny. From when I was younger, you could literally walk into some shops and they would literally help you with anything you needed. Now it's, how much money you got? I'll tell you how to do it. And that's the same with anywhere. Once in a while you'll meet a really good guy and he'll be like, yeah, sure, ask away. Like I said, on these jump wires, they're a little harder to get the shrink on, so it takes a little longer. Yeah, and then we'll take it and we'll heat shrink it. Alright, so now that we'll let this one kind of dry down and get a little cool, we'll unscrew this one here. We will take it out because we're going to be putting one in there. We can unscrew all three of these. and we're going to put them in there facing bottom. Easier to take these out on this one. Alright, so now you know this will be for your 3 amplifiers right here, amps. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our remote wire input, and this will go for both of our relays. So I'll cut it a little longer for now, and I am going to take our jump just like this, and where I'm at is good. So now from this one I'm going to go right over here, so I'll have a little bit of slack, which will be fine. And then we'll take our 2 and we'll tie them together. We'll get the crimpers and we'll crimp it down. And then we're going to cut a piece of the heat shrink off. We're just going to slide it down right now because we're going to heat all these up at the same time this time. So now we'll take these other I actually messed up. I put the wrong connector on, so we'll have to cut it off and do it again. I'll still use the same wires because I still have enough room length to use the same wire. Actually, I'm going to make a new wire. Just the one, just to jump over. So now we'll get this wire over here. We'll get this guy and we'll crimp him on. So we're going to crimp these guys on. We're going to use one of the other ones, but for now we're using this guy. So And then we'll drop our wire on there like again, our heat shrink. Just like that. Now, this is our longer one. Now we're going to use this guy, and we're going to crimp him on. And before I do that, we're going to cut some heat shrink and slide it down first. Once you got that on, we'll bring him up. And finally, last, we'll put our connector on. This guy. And we will put our heat shrink down first. And now we got him on. So now that we have them all on, we'll slide it up and we'll get our heat gun and we'll shrink them on. And now that we got that done, we got it all ready, and we're gonna hook this up to number 86, which will be this guy over here. And we're just linking these together because we don't need to do anything special. These are both for our remotes so that it turns on at the same time. And then this guy is going to go right here. Now we're going to do this with our power and our ground. We're going to even loop our ground from here to there to here down to here. And the reason why we're doing that is we can use it for our voltmeter if we want to, or we can go somewhere else. The nice thing about it is having it right there is if you do run like a 2-wire system right there, it's right there and ready to go. So now that we have that, we'll grab some of our red wire, which our red wire is going to go on this relay twice for a power out. So, but that's on the bottom like we did with this jumper over here, so we have all 3 of them connected. So we don't need to worry about that right now. So what we're going to do is our power goes onto the top of the relay itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a jump just like this. And I also forgot that I gotta glue this down. That I just remembered I can't do real quick. So I can not do that either. So I just messed that up, which is fine. I got